Hey friends, thanks so much for checking in and joining me today for another episode of the TV Tray Sessions here at Guitar Talk with Todd. We have a quick episode today. It's just a classic ad for you guys. This is from Joe's Place. Any of you who are even remotely into blues or blues rock and roll, know all about Joe's. I'm sure it was in Cambridge, Massachusetts. As you can see here by this classic ad, it was located at 1281 Cambridge Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Joe's Place hosted tons of artists through the years. 60s and 70s was the heyday. I want to say Joe's closed its doors around 1979, late 70s. Please chime in, you guys. There's a lot about Joe's I don't know. I was too young to experience it in its heyday. But I know even Bruce Springsteen performed there a couple of times in the early 70s. Tons of classic blues artists. We had Albert Collins, Buddy Guy and Junior Wells, John Lee Hooker, Big Mama Thornton, Carrie Bell, Big Walter Horton, just tons and tons. And of course, the great Howlin Wolf, which is what this ad is for. Check out our Howlin Wolf playlist. We love the Wolf on this show, and this will go in that category as well. We've done reviews on Wolf's classic albums. We feature Wolf's Shindig contract from when he performed with the Rolling Stones on Shindig in 1965. We have a great conversation with my dear friends Betty and Barbara, Wolf's daughters. So check out the Howlin Wolf playlist on this channel because there are just tons and tons of great things. We're going to feature more. We've got one of Wolf's original signed business cards that is just an awesome piece we're going to be featuring on here as well. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out and check out the playlist. But looking at this ad, like I said, not super rare. Joe's Place, that was the classic logo right there that you would see on all of the advertisements for Joe's. This was in the local paper. What's cool about this is it's an original piece, as you can see by the yellowing in the newspaper. So really not anything super rare, just a piece that ran in the paper at the time, obviously in the Massachusetts area of Cambridge. But you can tell by the yellowing, it is an original piece. This particular ad, May 1st through 6th, we had Brownie McGee and Sonny Terry. May 8th through 13th and the 15th through the 20th, we had the great Charlie Musselwhite, who's still going strong today in 2025. And then May 22nd through the 27th there. That was a 6-show run. That's just awesome. We had Howlin Wolf, which is just, I cannot even imagine seeing Wolf in a place like that. Joe's just iconic. I really wish I could get in a time machine and go back. Search out, there's a couple of great recordings of the Wolf in Joe's Place. I know there's one from 1973, and there's a fantastic one from 1966. The quality is not exactly stellar, but it's good enough that you can hear hubertsumlin, obviously, with the Wolf, and just some fantastic playing, and you can just hear the Wolf in all of his glory there. And people always talk about that, how Wolf slowed down in his later years, which is true. Everyone does. But I love those performances as well, because I always just love Wolf's vocal performances, his voice. Nobody sounded like the Wolf. Even in his later years, he still just, those pipes were just so powerful. Yes, maybe not as powerful as they were way back in the day, and that could be said for anyone, but they still, just an incredible voice. Probably my biggest influence vocal-wise. I just love Howlin Wolf's voice. Whenever I hear people talk about singing with passion and belting it out and soul and power, I'm always thinking, like, are you schooled in Howlin Wolf though? Have you really listened to, because if you haven't, you have completely missed the benchmark. Howlin Wolf is it to me. When it comes to power and pipes, nobody could touch him. And Even Sam Phillips, I know I've talked about this many times on this show, and there's like the famous quote from Sam about, discovering the wolf, and that was his greatest discovery. I think most people thought discovering Elvis, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, that whole 1950s rockabilly class there, Billy Lee Riley, all those guys that Sam discovered. He was going to mention one of them, primarily Elvis, is usually what most people are thinking, but no. He always said his greatest discovery was Howlin Wolf, and I would have to agree. So I've mentioned this on this show many times. Like I said, check out our Howlin Wolf playlist, but I'm going to say that quote from Sam Phillips again when he was asked who his greatest discovery was, and he said it was indeed Chester Burnett, Howlin Wolf. This is what he said. When I heard him, I said, "This is for me. This is where the soul of man never dies." He was about 6'6" with the biggest feet I've ever seen on a human being. Bigfoot Chester is one name they used to call him. He would sit there with those feet planted wide apart, playing nothing but the French harp, and I tell you, the greatest show you could see today would be Chester Burnett doing one of those sessions in my studio. God, what it would be worth to see the fervor in that man's face when he sang. His eyes would light up and you'd see the veins on his neck. And buddy, there was nothing on his mind but that song. He sang with his damn soul. I love that quote. They need to make a t-shirt of that quote. That's just so great. I love that. I think that just sums up the Wolf. And if you do see any performances of him at all, like I said, even in later years, and they're out there, look them up on YouTube. There you could just see he's thinking about nothing else but that song. Like Sam said, he's just so intense and into it. And to this day, I've never seen anyone sing like that. It's a shame because there's not a recording at all that's ever come out publicly of Howlin Wolf way back, and I'm talking like early 50s in his prime. Those shows were just supposed to be absolutely scary to go see. He would just stalk the stage, and he just dominated the stage. And man, I wish we had a recording of that, anything, even audio. But going back to Joe's place here, there is a recording of Wolf from 1966 at Joe's place, and he's still on fire. The one even from 1973 is fantastic, like I said, just to listen to him sing and hear his voice. Search out that one from 1966 as well. That one's super powerful. The quality's not as good, but it's just incredible stuff to listen to. God, I hope that someone has one out there from like the mid-50s or something like that. That would be incredible, but I kind of sadly think it might not exist. But chime in, you guys, let me know. Also chime in if you know anything about Joe's place. I am very unfamiliar with a lot of history with Joe's. Like I said, I want to say it closed in the late 70s. It hosted tons of blues, Albert Collins, Otis Rush, all those guys, and even rock and roll like Bruce Springsteen. Like I said, I know he played there a couple of times, if not more. But please chime in and comment below if you know any more about Joe's. I know the business is not there. I'm assuming the building might not be as well. But chime in and let me know, you guys, if you know anything more about this. I'm pretty certain that the building is not there anymore, but let me know. And again, please comment and chime in if you were at Joe's, if you saw anyone in any form, or know any more history about Joe's place. I know the venue has gone down in history as being iconic because so many people performed there through the years, and it just hosted some great events. 60s and 70s was definitely its heyday, and like I said, I'm trying to pinpoint exactly when it closed. I've heard 1979, but let me know if you guys know any more about this. So this is a great piece out of the newspaper, yellowing as you can see, and not super rare by any means. If you locate an old newspaper from the Cambridge area in the 60s or 70s, you're bound to see tons of Joe's Place ads just like this. I just love this particular one because it lists the Howlin Wolf, and you know what a fan of Wolf we are on this show. If I have to predict when this ad came out, I'm going to say it was for like the 1973 performance, although I'm pretty certain Wolf performed at Joe's tons of times, even though the 66 and the 73 performances had been recorded and they are out there. So like I said, seek them out because they're just fantastic, both of them. But I'm sure Wolf played there tons of times when they weren't recorded. So it's hard to say exactly what year this ad is from, but I'm going to guess like early 70s. Sonny Terry passed away in 1986, and Brownie McGee passed away 10 years later in 1996. Obviously, the great Charlie Musselwhite is still with us today. This is being recorded in 2025. And of course, we lost the incredible Howlin Wolf in 1976. If there was one artist I could go back in time and see, boy, that would be it. I would just love to have seen Howlin Wolf. Such an influence on me, and I just love his music. But chime in, you guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for joining me today. Like I said, please comment if you know anything about Howlin Wolf and the history of him playing at Joe's, how many times he played there, obviously the history of Joe's in general. Did you see anyone there? Do you remember the place? Do you live in the Cambridge area? Do you know any more about it? Please chime in. Love hearing from all of you. And thanks so much for joining me today. Please hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner and help me out. You know I appreciate it. And like I said, check out our Howlin Wolf playlist. This will go on there, and there's tons more stuff, and we're going to have more Howlin Wolf coming as we just love him on this show. Find me on all social media at Todd Beebe Music, and we will see you all again. Thanks again so much for checking in, everyone. Stay safe and love your dogs. Take care.